Thanks for allowing me to have this opportunity to speak to the Green Ring community. I'm very happy to give an update on baseload energy. So for this year, with the $12 million that we have to spend, we are planning for about 12,000 meters planned at Akio itself. A lot of that will go into drilling our pods 4, 5, 7, and 9, which do need some additional work to bring our to really grow the deposit and get it to a stage where we can finalize a resource definition and delineation. Try to get that out by Q4. We've also got exploration targets at Akio that we need to follow up. The northern extension of Pod 7 is still wide open. There's about 75 meters to 100 meters of untested rock there in a corridor that is continuously showing a high-grade uranium within it. So we have to define that a little bit better, and hopefully we will find some more high-grade mineralization along that corridor. As mentioned earlier, we will also be looking at the depth extension of the Akio structure, where we'll be following alteration and geochemical anomalies. And then we've got unconformity potential at the sandstone. So earlier I was mentioning that sandstone's not a good thing to have, but I also mentioned that you don't want more than 100 meters thickness. Our sandstone is not as thick as that. We do have a little skiff of sandstone, but we've never tested the structural contact for it. And typically in the Athabasca, all of the mineralization are controlled by structures. So we think from what we've seen with the sandstone already, we see a lot of potential there as the geochemical anomalies are quite robust, and they're significant of uranium deposits that I've worked on previously. So we think that, yes, our sandstone, we think that we've got sandstone mineralization at Akio, but we have to test it. And that's a big plan for this year. Our Catharsis project, which is probably the furthest south that we have, we are currently drilling it right now. We started the program with 2,000 meters, exploring about 4 to 5 target areas. In the first target area, in the first 3 drill holes, we intersected anomalous radioactivity at a structural contact. And in the 2 follow-up holes to that, we intersected incredible structure, incredible alteration, things that I've seen in previous drill holes, on working on previous deposits. I could have taken some of that core from those drill holes and put them on deposits, and you'd never be able to tell the difference. The only difference being the lack of radioactivity. So seeing that core tells us that we're in the right environment. We've got the right structures to move fluids, and we've got the right fluid types in the area. We've seen redox style alteration within the structures in this first target area. That's very important, because if you don't have redox potential, you could not have uranium mineralization. That's absolutely key, and I think a lot of people forget that part about uranium mineralization, but that's the reality. So seeing that on Catharsis indicates to us that maybe there's not uranium in the target area that we're testing immediately, but there could be uranium in some of the other target areas. So we decided to increase our drill program. We went from 2,000 meters to 4,000 meters. We've increased our target areas from 4 to 5 to 7 to 8, because we want to fast track baseload to another discovery. We think that if there is one on Catharsis, we will get to it very quickly, and that's the intention for this year. We're helicopter supported, so we're able to bounce around to other target areas very quickly and very efficiently. If we can make a discovery on Catharsis, I think that bodes well, not just for baseload, but for the entire Athabasca Basin as a whole. So far, what we've seen on this project is that it is fertile for uranium-bearing fluid pathways, and we think it's only a matter of time before we can make a discovery on our Catharsis project. Catharsis should be wrapped up by mid-April, end of March, mid-April. We'll be done drilling there. Hopefully, we will have some encouraging results by then. Getting into May, we will be going to our Bear project. Now, Bear is about 15 kilometers south of the Athabasca Basin margin and 15 kilometers south of the Key Lake Mill. It's strategically located close to infrastructure. The highway that supplies Key Lake is basically right beside the project. We've got a few targets that were identified in previous surveys that occur along what we consider to be a regional fault corridor. So we'll be testing that in May, 1,500 meters planned, 6 to 8 drill holes covering 2 to 3 target areas. very excited to get to that, as that target area looks encouraging for uranium mineralization. And then in June, we'll be back up at our Akio and our Hook project. So Akio, as discussed, we've got a lot of plans for that, 12,000 meters, but we'll also be doing some regional exploration on our Hook project. You can see that Akio is highlighted with that yellow star within the red ellipse on the image to the north. That red ellipse is circling a north-south oriented structure, and you can kind of see it in blue in the image on the screen. That structure, we believe, is host to more deposits, as there are additional geophysical anomalies along there. This structure is one of the strongest structures visible via geophysical surveys for 50 to 100 meters within a radius. It is a huge structure. It is already proven to be fertile for mineralization with Akio to the north, and we think that the mirror image of the system to the south could also yield the same results. So we've got about 4,000 meters planned for Hook regional exploration, in about 16 to 20 drill holes, and we'll be targeting 5 different target areas. Three of those target areas will be along that north-south structure that hosts Akio, and then we've got a few other target areas that we'd like to test outside of that area. But we have seen on this project already, we have discovered radioactive pegmatites at our Beckett Lake. We've also discovered copper nickel sulfides in an EM target. So we do see the potential for multi-commodity discoveries to be made on this project. And then our Shadow project, which is the last one to mention. Unfortunately, we will not be doing any work on Shadow, as we are still in consultation with the Indigenous groups in the area. We've been consulting with them since October 2020. It has been prolonged. A lot of it is us trying to educate them, and they're used to the oil and gas industry out in Alberta, which is not nearly the same as what we do in exploration. We have much smaller footprints, and we do less environmental damage to the ground. Basically, with the exploration, we can't even tell that we've been there on site. So we're continuously trying to educate the Indigenous with that, and it's a slow process. But we remain confident and faithful that in the end we will be able to properly explore the Shadow project with Diamond Drill. Summarizing all of that, Q1 that we're in right now, we are currently drilling at Catharsis. As mentioned, we increased our drill program to 4,000 meters, and we're trying to fast track to a discovery. We started an airborne high-resolution radiometric and magnetic survey on Catharsis as well. That should be completed prior to our drill program being done. And we do have another, and then after that survey is done, we'll send over to Bear before we can get drilling there. All of the big activity starts around June of this year, Q2, Q3, when we've got over about 15,000, 17,000 meters planned diamond drilling at 3 different projects: Bear, Akio, and Hook. A lot of target areas, a lot of potential, fully funded with 12 million in the bank. And we want to not only grow Akio, but we also want to make a new discovery. Hopefully by Q4 at the end of the year, we'll have our initial mineral resource calculation for Akio completed. We're trying to get it into indicated category, not inferred, which is why we've put more drilling into it than necessary. So basically, on the corporate side of things, we've got 133 million shares outstanding. We've also got about 40 million in warrants and options, 25 million and 16 million options. Most of the warrants are out of the money at the moment. I think the next big bunches that are coming off in November and December this year all have a strike price at about 70 cents to $1. So we're quite a ways off the mark. Share price as of Friday, March 8th, 32 cents per share. As you can tell in the stock price, the share price on the graph there, we took a huge hit back in February, and that was due to the private placement that we completed in February. We raised $6 million in February. It was a $5 million bought deal placement, and yeah, we upsized it to $6 million. It was very encouraging to see that we were able to raise money, especially in this market where it's difficult to raise money for any company, for any commodity. It is proving to be quite difficult. If we tried to raise that money now, we would not be able to. We also didn't go looking for the money, which was interesting. We had raised $9 million in December of last year. We were cashed up at that point, but the brokers brought these funds in front of us as a bought deal, and we thought that it would be ridiculous not to follow up with it, which it provides us with a security blanket, basically, that if we spent more than 12 million that we want to this year, we can. With that extra $6 million, it allows us to go over it. It allows us to make decisions like what we just did for Catharsis and increase our drill program meterage and try to find more mineralization as quickly as possible. So it's a great scenario. Market caps around that 40 million mark, and again, cash 20 million. Company insiders have about 2%. QC Copper and Gold, which is a sister company, they own 8%. So insiders basically about 10%. Sprott ETF, URNM, they've also owned about 10%. All those are purchased off the open market. None of that was done in the back end of things. There are no deals or transactions for that. So I think we've got a pretty tight share structure with 133 million shares out, lots of cash in hand, which is, again, it's a great scenario to have there. I don't think there are many juniors who have the same fortunate scenario that we have, that we've got a low capital structure, cash in the bank, ready to explore very hard, looking for a new discovery this year while trying to grow our uranium deposit that we already have. A lot of positive things with the company, and I see nothing but really strong potential for the company moving forward. Uranium market is hot. It is absolutely fantastic right now. That's what we want to work for. That's who we are. A bunch of crazy guys. We're all part of the OR group, which are actually 8 companies now, all rolled under one umbrella. Baseload Energy is the uranium focused vehicle of the company. The uranium market, yeah, it's, as mentioned earlier, it's probably the hottest uranium market that the world has seen since the 1970s. Back then, a number of mines. They were small mines of varying grades being mined all over the world. Governments were handing out subsidies left, right, and center to get mines into production. And from what I've heard from industry veterans with 40 years history with this type of work, trading uranium, just being in the industry as a whole, are all saying the same thing, that this is by far the best the best market they've ever seen in this industry. They expect the supply demand imbalance to continue for quite a while, as there is no projected large mines coming online to fill that void, fill that gap. Japan reactors are slowly coming online, and once small modular reactors start making wave, maybe not in North America where we're slow, but over in Asia and Europe, where, especially even Russia, where they're continuously building them. But in those countries, there tends to be quicker development time frame for small modular reactors. And once those start getting developed, we'll probably see a much greater demand. Because with any new reactor, it takes twice as much uranium to start up and get going than it does to keep them running. So for all of these new builds that we're seeing, mostly in Asia, India, they will require a lot of uranium to get going. So this is the perfect scenario for any investor to get into the uranium space. It's just a matter of what company the investor wants to get into. I think Baseload is probably one of the best companies out there. Again, not just because I'm CEO, and not just because we've got great assets and great opportunities and a wonderful idea to make a discovery that goes into production. But we've got Accu, we've got our uranium deposit, and I personally believe that we are at almost all-time lows. I think we are an undervalued company with nothing but upside potential. We've seen how discovery in this market, in this current market, can yield 50 to 60% returns within a day and hold. So a discovery for us would be quite a wonderful scenario with a lot of high return potential for investors. And yeah, that's Baseload Energy. I'm James Sykes. Thank you very much for listening and watching. And I look forward to hearing from you.